Now, some of you are going to ask, should I put RTV sealant or any kind of sealant, even if it's copper coat, on my intake gaskets? Most of the time the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is yes. All I know is that I'm using Fel Pro gaskets, and they're probably the best you can buy. And they have a little ridge that goes around each opening anyway, which compresses and does a pretty good job of sealing everything off. But I just know that almost every time I've ever put an intake on, when I put the gasket on, if I don't use a sealant, either at the moment that I first crank it or a couple weeks or months down the road, it eventually starts leaking. Now that's probably honestly due to my fault. Maybe I'm not torquing it right, maybe I'm not using the right bolts. I don't know. But either way, I always have problems if I don't use a sealant. Every time that I have used a sealant, never had an issue, ever. Like this motor right here, when I first put the Edelbrock intake on it, it ran for, I don't know, a couple weeks, no issues. Then it started having issues with, it was a vacuum leak basically, and torqued it down a little more, which was pretty tight anyway, and I still had a vacuum issue. I used a torque wrench, I used Ford specs, which is 25 foot-pounds. I used Edelbrock specs, which was 30 foot-pounds. Still had an issue, so I wound up just pulling it back off and doing exactly what you see right here. And then that intake stayed on this motor and ran for probably about 19 years before I parked it. Never had an issue. And when I pulled this off, if you remember, I think I got it on video, but it took a lot of force to pull that thing off. So it was on there. So here's the final product, as much as it can be sitting on the stand. This is the way it's going to look. I really am glad that I went the way I did with the cover. That is mean looking. Pretty nice. It's going to be some serious power compared to what I got now. Little 200's a good motor, but man, look at that. Woo!